Hello everybody and a very warm welcome back to my latest video. I do hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. During my last videos where I dived a little bit into the story of disco's downfall, I got some requests about essential disco records or records to start your disco collection, especially from people who are new to it, who said, actually, it wasn't my kind of topic, but now I'm really getting into it. Can you do some recommendations for a couple of records? But the challenge should be that these records are available and that I don't need to lose an arm or leg to buy those records. So I picked out 10 records which I think are a very good point to start and where you also get the full-blown disco experience. If you have other recommendations, please write them down in the comments below. I would love to see your recommendations as well. Let's start with an album from 1978 with Chic, C'est Chic. That album featured the tracks Le Freak and I Want Your Love. Especially Le Freak has a very great background story. This song came to Chic's minds when they were not allowed to enter Studio 54, and they went back to their apartment and started jamming and actually came up with the phrase F you, and that turned into Le Freak. A great album. The next one is from the Queen of Disco. Yes, you guessed it absolutely right. Donna Summer, 1979, Bad Girls. That's on double album, and what I really like about it is that it's blending classic disco with rock and funk influences. And it has the tracks Hot Stuff, Bad Girls, and Dim All the Lights. Absolutely and highly recommended. What would be a list of disco records to start with without this soundtrack? Saturday Night Fever from 1977. For the longest time, this soundtrack was the most sold soundtrack in music history. And for me, it's the prime of disco. Disco's heydays were in 1977, 1978, 1979, so this is for me the pinnacle of disco music. You have tracks, of course, by the Bee Gees. You have Walter Murphy, David Shire, the Tavares, Yvonne Alleman. There are so many great tracks on it. It's, for me, actually a best of disco, if you want to call it that way. Sister Sledge, We Are Family, also from 1979. Back in the days when it was nighttime and you watched some music video stations on TV, this music video was played regularly. This was produced by Neil Rogers and Bernard Edwards of Chic. And this record includes the iconic We Are Family and He's the Greatest Dancer, and this is pure dance floor magic. I already mentioned Donna Summer, but let's not forget who worked very closely with her together and became a legend on his own. It's Giorgio Moroder, and my recommendations would be here from 1977, From Here to Eternity. A pioneering electronic disco album, and it's blending synthesizer futuristic grooves, and I think it's a must-have for understanding how disco influenced electronic music. Next one is an artist I totally adore, Sylvester, and this one is Step 2 from 1978. To me, Sylvester brought a lot of gospel and high-energy soul to disco. Of course, we remember You Make Me Feel Mighty Real and Dance Disco Heat. These songs became anthems. Sylvester has a very, very tragic ending, but therefore I think it's even more important to remember him and his influence. I also have very fond memories of watching the music video of You Make Me Feel Mighty Real, which was shot in a discotheque in the United Kingdom. My next one would be Diana Ross' Diana from 1980. It was produced by Neil Rodgers and Bernard Edwards once again, and this album features Upside Down and I'm Coming Out. And it's for me a very important album because you have a kind of transition between disco and the new 80s era. And also Diana Ross got words that disco is no more the thing, and so she remixed that album, or newly mixed it, and Neil Rodgers and Bernard Edwards weren't so happy about it, but you know, the success proved her right. One of my all-time favorite songs is also included on the Saturday Night Fever, but these guys made also an album which titled the same song, and these are the Tramps with Disco Inferno. I highly recommend that you check out the 10 minutes version, and it was released in 1976, and it's pure disco and a staple song for all revival parties from the 1970s. An album that made it actually big by accident was Cerrone's Supernature in 1977. That was French disco with a sci-fi twist and synthesizer driven, an absolutely masterpiece and a disco classic. So Cerrone got big in the United States, like I said, by accident, because a French record dealer wanted to send some Barry White records to the United States, but actually sent by accident Cerrone records, and yeah, the rest is history. An artist I also highly regard is Patrick Cowley. And here I totally recommend, from all the great works he did, Megatron Man from 1981. It's a later disco area record that bridges the gap to high energy, which also was a phenomenon which started in the early to mid 80s, and you also get the electronic dance vibe to it. So Megatron Man and also Menergy are, for me, are essential to understand how electronic music shaped also disco, but also other genres. So this one is highly recommended. I concentrated more on the late albums, but I think those were very successful. They are very affordable and very available. And if you're new to disco, I think you get the full-blown disco experience. And once again, like I said in the beginning, if you have other recommendations, please write it down in the comments below. But that would be my list for getting into disco music. If you like it less electronic and very orchestral, of course, there are the likes of Barry White. We have the Sound of Philadelphia, but with this one, I wanted to have a little different approach to my list. If you like that video, I highly suggest that you check out the playlist appearing here, and I catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.